Hello, and welcome to the Frivolous and Frugal Knitting Podcast. We are two sisters who share our fondness for knitting, the things that we create, and the love we have for the knitting community. And we do it all with a little twist of both the frivolous and the frugal. I am Frivolous Dawn, and in our family's birth order, I am the fourth of 8 children.
Hello, and I am Frugal Miss Penny. In the birth order, I am the oldest. And our behind the scenes statistician is our dear sister, Faithful Nicky, who is third in the birth order. And we are so excited that you've joined us for episode 59. I almost said 89. Woo! I kind of do that in my checkbook too, if I have the opportunity. Anyway, this is episode 59, and we're so glad you're with us this week. Our returning viewers, we just can't thank you enough for carving out time to spend with us each week. And as always, we hope you glean a nugget or two from our fiber journeys. And if this is your first time viewing, we don't always mess up the introduction like this. It just happened that we did that today. And by the way, we're so glad that you stumbled upon us or perhaps were referred. So we always encourage our visitors to have a note-taking device because we will share tips and tricks along the way. So speaking of note-taking devices, grab your favorite note-taking device, your knitting, and your sense of humor, because we are about to embark on episode 59 of Frivolous and Frugal. Take it away, Dawn.
All right, let's start with what's around our necks. How about you?
Hey, about the same thing I wore 4 episodes ago. One of those days. This is that nice stitch cowl that I really like. I think it's the one that's persuading me to wear cowls. Isn't that pretty? It is a pattern by Susan Ashcroft in a fiber that you gave me that we have no idea what it is. We have no idea where it came from. So therefore, not only does it not get a frugalometer designation, but it doesn't have a name. It doesn't get that either. I know one thing, and that is I knit it on a US size 5. So on the frugalometer, I gave it a 1 for fiber and 1 for the pattern. How about you?
That's funny. We have no idea. All right.
On several levels.
That's right. It's only started, right? Yes. This is the Inside Outside Cowl by Churchmouse Yarn and Tees, knit on a US 3. The yarn, the one you're seeing on the outside is Malabrigo Mora in the English Rose colorway. And then the Mohair on the inside is Lang's Luxe Mohair, and that's in the Mulberry colorway. And you know, Miss Brianna just finished this too, and she used the same yarns. I can't believe lately I'm running to cowls too. I don't know, because I keep thinking I need to cast a few more on, but a lovely pattern. It was one where I bought the kit. I looked at the date, Penny. We bought it at Elgin Knitworks in 2018.
Really?
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed it was so long ago, but it was a kit where you got the pattern free.
Yeah.
If you bought the yarn. So I would have to give that 1 on the frugalometer. It is a paid for pattern on Ravelry, by the way. And the yarn, I'm going to guess 2.75.
Yes, I can see it, 2.75. Oh my God. It's a good thing you don't judge figure skating or what are Dancing with the Stars. Okay.
Absolutely. Malabrigo is pretty reasonable. Yeah, I don't know what it was. I'm going to call it somewhere between a 2 and a 3.
Oh, that sounds good.
And what is your Miss Opal wearing?
Well, Opal is wearing my favorite Alliteration scarf number 2 by Theresa Schabes, and it is knit out of bits and bobs of leftover sock yarn from my stash and from Dawn's stash. And this is a free pattern, so it obviously earns a single $sign on the frugalometer for both fiber and pattern. And I have to tell you, I knit it on a size 3, and this scarf, you will see I knit according to the pattern, so it has a ribbed cuff at the end. The one I'm working on now is a surprise. That'll be Alliteration scarf number 3. Made a couple of adjustments, and one of these days I will bring it on an episode so you can see it. And what is Ruby wearing? It looks very pretty from here, Dawn.
Yeah, I don't know if I've shown it for a while. Speaking of frugalometer, somebody did ask, I think on YouTube, what the dollar signs meant. So before we leave today, make sure you explain that again. How the frugalometer works.
I will.
All right, this is Audition. It's by Michelle Hunter, Knit Purl Hunter. I believe this was her last knit along before she retired. And so it is long.
Dawn.
And it is heavy. So it is
Yowzer, that is beautiful.
Knit on a US 7. The yarns, of course, are by Scacel. The blue that you see here that changes colors, this here is called Boyish. Boy, like boy, girl, boyish. And then the dark blue is called Raffia. Now, I'm telling you, it's a little bigger than the initial because we ran out of yarn, and this yarn here sells in 200-gram skeins. So when you run out and have to buy another one, you might as well just keep on going. So it is longer than the original pattern, but I ended up enjoying that. It's got to go 120 inches, I bet.
How often do you wear that?
Never.
Okay.
And you know why? Again, it was one of those shawls that Brianna looked at when she was here, and it was tucked back. But this would be a great shawl like for season changes, where you just throw it over your shoulders and wrap it around. Maybe a little too heavy to wear indoor. But I think to wrap around for falls, or, like right now, it's still pretty cool in the mornings and cool in the evenings. Something to work with. So it was, again, Audition, if I'm saying that right, Audition, like a audition for a musical kind of thing, by Michelle Hunter, Knit Purl Hunter.
Very, very pretty. Very pretty. Well, as you all know, I am a monogamous knitter these days. So the only thing I'm tinking on during today's episode, we had a virtual knit night. I tried to knit on the virtual knit night. So I'm tinking today. That should shock no one. And I am knitting the Hermes hat. And this is a hat that was designed by Beatriz Rubio. You can see it. I am knitting it actually in Araucania Huasco, and I'm sure I mispronounced that. Beautiful pink tonal, and I'm not sure if it's the tonal changes in the cable. I just don't like that it's not nice and full. So I'm going to tink it back and just redo it so I make sure I've done it right. And I am knitting these as called for in the pattern on a size 4 and 6. On the frugalometer, the pattern gets a 1 on the frugalometer, $1 sign. And on my fiber, I gave it a 1 too, because I think maybe Miss Joanne tucked it in, like you said, one of our project bags. So I don't know what it goes for if you're buying it in retail, but that's the only thing I'm tinking on right now. What about you?
Well, what I'm working on right now is, and let me show you the pattern. Well, it would be nice if I grabbed the first page. This is a free pattern on Ravelry, the Point Edward mitts. I've heard several podcasters talk about these, and several of the Magpie ladies are knitting them as well. I am knitting them for my stepdaughter. I had one finished last week. I was hoping to have this finished. I am using Socks That Rock. That's a Blue Moon Fibers yarn. It's a fingering weight held double. I think the pattern calls for a worsted. And this is yarn that Stephanie picked out and asked me to knit. Now, to tell you a little bit about some alterations that I made, I'll show you the one that's done because it's a little easier to explain if I put it on my hands. The pattern calls for the cuff and the cuff here at the top of the fingers to be double in length. So I just thought that would have made the cuff a little too long here, but Stephanie didn't want the bulk. If this was double and you had to fold it over, that would put a lot of bulk right here, like when you're driving or whatever. So I just did half. And then I thought it was kind of cool. You do a little ribbing around the thumb too. Nice pattern for gusset increases. This is lovely yarn, lots of colors in it, as you can see. marled together. And since we're going to see her next week, I was hoping to get them done. So you may not get to see them done and blocked as a set unless I take some pictures. But again, those are the Point Edwards. Let me see what I gave it on the Frugalometer. You know, free pattern on Ravelry. So I'm going to call that a frugal $1 sign. The yarn is indie dyed. I'm going to probably call it a 3.
Okay.
So I would definitely do them again. It's twisted rib, which is, you know, kind of knit through the back loop. So that gives me a very distinct ribbing pattern. Yeah, I like them. And I think they'll be worn because they're held double.
So maybe a good pattern for first time fingerless knitter.
Yeah, and also if you've not had practice with using the increases, make one right and make one left.
Okay.
And again, I think for a new knitter, maybe a solid color when you first learn those as opposed to marling like I'm doing. And I don't know, with everybody wanting to text these days, I think fingerless mitts are popular for that reason. They definitely aren't the warmest, obviously, but to be in the car with them or to be able to text or walking along, I think they're kind of a nice thing to add to your wardrobe of knitted goods.
Absolutely.
And
Or we like to be stylish.
since you're monogamous, I guess I keep going, huh?
We sure do. It's the Dawn Show today.
It's the Dawn Show. Oh, I do not want to get so many whips that I can't keep up. Project number 2.
Oh,
The Boneyard Shawl by Stephen West. Those of you who have had the Boneyard Shawl in your Ravelry library for a while, he did an update about a month ago, and it's the original pattern with just one other change, and another alternative to the increases. I am using a new yarn to me, Sueno Tweed. It's a yarn by HiKoo, and this is called the Comforting Cream colorway. And all the little tweed colors in there are the same tweed colors in the whole line. So whether you get the pink, the blue, the gray, the purple, whatever they all have the exact same tweedy bits.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, I just thought it, and this is a DK weight. I think, why do I think that maybe Ravelry calls it a worsted, but it definitely knits like a DK. And I am about 3/4 done.
Oh, wow, Dawn.
So
look at you.
So I think one of the changes to his newest pattern is he does a yarn over instead of a make one right, make one left for the center spine. And it's also that same increase along the top. So those eyelet holes are just yarn overs. Now I'm going to teach this class for Silver Thimble in Green Bay in June. And the original one that's on display right now has the make one right, make one left center spine. So now people can see both and choose which one they want. I think yarn overs may be easier for newer knitters again, but if you wanted that to be closed and have a more finished look, I think the make one right, make one left. It is calling for 3 skeins of this. I am barely at 1.5. So I'll be shocked if I need all 3. Because it's going to be a shop model, I'm going to follow the pattern as written. If it was my own, I think I would just keep going till I ran out of yarn. Free pattern. I think Stephen West says it'll always be free since it was his very first pattern he ever wrote. And so that's a 1 on the Frugalometer. Sueno, I'm going to probably call 3 on the Frugalometer. And let me see what I am knitting that in on a US 7. So I'm following the pattern recommendations. The pattern is written for 2 different weights. You can do the fingering weight or the DK. So, and then I also love it when he says, just knit till you're happy. So however small or however large you want, just keep going. And he gives you some clues on how much yarn you're going to need for the garter stitch edging. So,
cool.
All right, let's see my next one. I may have to call a timeout just for a break, huh? All right. So the Vintage Prim hat, that is by Andrea Mowry. That is a paid for pattern on Ravelry. I am following the pattern as written, and I'm just far enough now that you can start to see the brioche pattern.
Oh, yes, you can.
Oh, what is that? That's a big old error I just saw on the screen. Did you see it?
Oh, do it again.
Like, oh, other side. Woo, right there.
Oh,
What's up with
I
that?
did see that. What is that?
I don't know. Nothing like holy guacamole. All right, I may be tinking.
Well, wait a minute. Okay, yeah.
Now, look what's interesting. The back side isn't brioche. It's just this kind of stripe pattern.
That's weird.
Yeah, it'll block out, I think, much better. But this is fingering weight. The darker blue is Cascade Heritage Solid. Yeah, that is really a weird, that looks like there's a little tumor growing on my hat.
I was going to ask, the reason I took a look is it's not where you joined yarn, right?
No, but it's goofy on the back side now that I'm looking at it too. It looks like I
Oh.
have. Oh, bummer. Anyway, it is
Well,
what
let
it
me
is, right?
invite you to my tinking party.
Yeah. And then I just drop a bunch of stitches off the needle. What is going on? Okay. The light gray or the ivory, it's really a super light gray, is by Sweet Fiber Merino Light, and it is in the birch colorway. That is a singles yarn, and I usually enjoy singles because they kind of bloom. Now, I'll tell you, living in northern Wisconsin, this will not be a warm hat.
Okay.
Fingering weight, I mean, you can kind of see, it's
Mhm.
almost see-through. But yeah, gosh, the more I look at that on the camera, that's kind of sad.
Well, actually, no, it's good because you haven't finished it yet.
Yeah.
You would rather catch it now than as you were closing the top.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. I'll fix that or not.
You have 7 others on your needles. If you don't want to take this right away, pick up another project.
Yeah, it looks so nice on the pattern page. Okay. So, oh gosh, I'm going to say this is a paid for pattern. I probably gave both the pattern and the yarn a 3 on the Frugalometer. Now, last but not least, I just cast it on last night, do our virtual knit night. A knit along the podcast is doing, and we would encourage anybody to join in on us. It is a shawl called the Sweet Little Nothing by Susan, who we call Pink Shawl Girl on Ravelry. I can't pronounce her last name. DeBettignies? Okay.
I don't know. That's all right.
Yeah, and it was published by Irene Designs. A lovely, lovely shawl. And it is fingering weight, and the beads on the picot edging is optional. And I literally have just started. So it's going to form this long V that'll sit really nice on your neck, and then the edging will come around. You knit it till you're happy with it or till you're about out of yarn. A gradient is what the picture is in, and the only gradient that I had was a Knit Circus in their trampoline base, and the colorway is called Put Me in the Zoo Speckle. So you'll see kind of all the colors it'll be. So I'm hoping that blue comes out at the end. So I go through some pinks and lighter blues and then blues. Gosh, I'm going to call it, I don't remember how much it cost on Ravelry. It was reasonable. Actually, we were gifted it, right? So it was one on the Frugalometer. And I hate to say this, I'm going to go for maybe 5.
It's a 5 on my Frugalometer.
Yeah, it's, now that I see the price tag on here, it's a 5. So, yeah, so those are the things that are on my needles. Of course, some of our year-long projects are still on my needles. Every once in a while, we'll give an update on those. And it's with great sadness that I have nothing off my needles. Not a thing.
Maybe a little monogamy.
No.
Well, there you go. Pick your poison, girl.
That's right. Pick your poison.
And I have nothing off my needles either. Well, stitches that I'm tinking, but that's it.
And so many nice comments about your wingspan last week. People are so fascinated to see what it's going to look like blocked.
Yes.
So we'll all look forward to that when you can get that
And
done.
I'll try to block it eventually. You know, I cannot tell you why. I just really could care less about blocking. I do it, but I wait until I have about a stack up to my knees before I do it. So
Yeah.
I'll do it sooner than that, maybe in a week or so. What are you learning this week? Anything in particular?
Well, yes. Okay, again, profound. Are you ready?
I am. I'm ready. I'm always waiting just to hear the words of
Sure.
wisdom from you.
Okay, I'm going to try to put some emphasis on this.
Okay, go for it.
So I'm talking to myself.
Mhm.
Dawn, for Pete's sake, read the ball band. What did Dawn do to her hawthorn cowl? I put it in the dryer. It is felted.
Felted it.
It is felted.
Dawn.
I know, and it was so drapey. I figured in my head, Plymouth, I assume Plymouth Encore. I don't know why. It's not Plymouth Encore, it's Plymouth Homestead, and it is not a superwash.
Oh, Dawn.
So it can be a really big coaster. You just don't see, well, you see a little bit of the brioche. I know.
It lost it. Oh, my goodness.
It definitely lost it. Okay, a trivet for the dinner table.
Well, cut it, make it a table runner.
Oh, yeah. And it's all my fault.
Can you wear it as, well, no, you can't do that either. Okay, never mind.
It'd be a really big headband. Okay, I could seam it up the side. You know, I think of what Sally Fields wore when she was the flying nun.
There you
there's people watching here going, who is that? And what movie is that?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, and it's all my fault. It wasn't even an accident. I did it knowing. I mean, I put it in the dryer. It did not go to the dryer on accident. Yeah.
Nuts. I am so sorry.
So for Pete's
just
sake,
make it like a corset over there on Ruby, you know, and then just safety pin it in the back. I have a diaper pin I'll give you, or a binder clip.
Oh yeah, maybe a corset. That's a good idea. Or Spanx. A tube top. Oh, that wouldn't work. Yeah.
Oh, I gotta tell you, that just makes my heart sink.
Yeah, I mean, I've done dumb things before, but this one has to go right up there. And you know, thank goodness it wasn't super expensive yarn. I easily could knit it again, but this was supposed to be a shop model, which will never make its way to the shop. So
well, it could be a before and after. Save it for your teaching. The title of this lesson, oh, for Pete's sake.
Exactly. Poor Pete. He gets blamed on a lot of things.
Yeah, well, he sure does, at least at our house.
So
well, mine is not profound either, but I have to tell you, after every virtual knitting event, Dawn, I just step back and I say to myself, the synergy of meeting with other knitters and the inspiration and the encouragement and the diversity of perspectives always just is like a breath of fresh air for me.
I agree.
And I can't tell you how much I enjoy that. So that's what I was reflecting on again after our virtual knit night. For those of you who have not joined us, I would encourage you to do that. And we'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of the podcast. But my takeaway has to do with our dear sister Nikki's words of wisdom. So it'll make more sense at the end, I think.
I have a confession.
Okay, go for it. Oh, you know, I love confessions.
Yeah. Okay, so somebody who will remain unnamed, Barbara, did tell us that there was a special going on. Magpie Fibers Swanky sock and Swanky DK were on sale. So I waited till after we ended virtual knit night. So
Before you hit the buy now button?
I think that's self-control, that I did not do it during the virtual knit night, that I waited till afterwards. So yeah, there may be something on its way.
Oh, oh, Miss Barbara, you are an enabler.
But I
Well,
feel the same as you. I learned so much. I get to see what people are working on. You know, they're becoming friends, and we've never even physically met, most of them.
Yeah.
So I would think if we were ever knitting with them, we would just sit down like friends and
so as
enjoy.
well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, very good. So what is happening at Frivolous and Frugal?
Well, just settle back and think, because we have several announcements that I am going to make today. And so I'm going to get right at it. Once again, we're working toward 2,000 subscribers. Once we get there, we'll have a large giveaway. Our YouTube giveaway is going to be in episode 60. So if you are interested in being one of those who might possibly be selected in a random drawing, then right after, in the thread for episode 59, answer the following question: what is your favorite knitwear soak and why? So there are different types of soak for woolens and or fibers that we use for our knitted items. Tell us which one you like and why. And this is kind of a selfish thing. I have a favorite, hands down. I've used it for years and years and years. I'm not going to tell you what that is right now. I'm going to wait until later. But I want to see if maybe perhaps I might be overlooking an equally effective soak. So please, if you're interested in being part of our random drawing, answer the question: what is your favorite knitwear soak or wash and why? We will announce that winner in episode 60. The next hashtag, Finish, Fix, Frog, or Flip It, Cal, is going to be in episode 62. We always take those drawings out of the Ravelry thread. So if you have anything that you have somehow either finished, fixed, flipped, made it into something else, modified it, or frogged it, upload those pictures with a short description and you will be entered into that drawing. It's exciting to see how people have truly created something out of nothing.
Yeah, it's
many
amazing.
It is. We are also actually sponsoring 4 additional cowls or knit-alongs. So let me tell you what they are. We randomly draw for these, so I can't tell you exactly which episode it's going to be in, and we select them from our Ravelry threads. So let me tell you about these 4 cowls. The first one is our month of May hat cowl. And while I forgot to announce that during our virtual knit night, let me announce it now. We are going to be knitting the Copycat CC beanie during the month of May by Emily Ingrid. So if you're interested in being selected for our monthly hat cowl, be sure to get yourself involved in that Ravelry thread. Also, we are trying to knit an ornament a week, and that cowl, if you want some inspiration, just drop in on that thread and you'll see oodles of it. But our pattern for the month of May is called the Personalized Bauble Ornaments by Anna Wadler. And so that is the pattern that we are featuring this month. Be sure to take a look at it. And beginning this month in our Ravelry threads, because of a suggestion of our dear Miss Norma, I am going to start listing the patterns for each month near the top or the title of our discussion thread. That way you can quickly see which patterns we have chosen throughout the months, and you can select the ones that you would like to participate in. The Saltwater Newfoundland Mittens cowl is still going on, isn't it, Dawn? Or are we going to bring it to a close?
Yeah, let's talk to Miss Jen, and maybe we'll end it like the 1st of June or something.
I think that would be good. I think we're slowing down on that. Yeah. And once we end that cowl, we will lock it. So that way you'll be able to look through all of those beautiful mittens, but you won't be able to upload your pictures. Then our last cowl is the Sweet Little Nothing cowl, the shawl by Miss Pink that Dawn mentioned earlier. We will be working on that and keeping the cowl open for 3 months. So there will probably be several drawings and giveaways for that cowl. So be sure to cast on, show us your yarn. If you have questions or suggestions or you're stumped, Miss Pink is being very, very responsive to your questions, and she's very active in that thread. So don't hesitate to point out any questions that you might have. She would love to help you. So those are our cowls. And if that wasn't enough, we are so eager to meet you that we have formally made a decision to host a Chicago mini meetup. We won't actually be meeting in downtown Chicago. We will be meeting at a hotel in Hoffman Estates, which is a suburb of the city. We are meeting on Friday, July 30th and Saturday, July 31st. We are going to abide by the COVID restrictions in place at the hotel. So we are always going to encourage you, once we post the hotel and get the code, to look on their website for what the most current policy is. They are going to give us right now a reduced rate for rooms. So if you'd like to spend the night, once we get that sign-in code, we'll post it and you can book your room. It looks like, and I think we chatted about it during our virtual knit night, but we are not going to have a formal get together on Sunday morning. Those who would like to get up early and knit a bit before they hit the road are welcome to do that. And then those who might want to visit Elgin Knitworks on their way out of town can certainly do that. We won't be far from the shop at all. We will have an active Ravelry thread on this little meetup, and that's where we're going to keep you up to date, and it will have the most up-to-date information. So if after you read that thread you still have questions, don't hesitate to let Dawn or I know. Then we have 2 virtual knitting events that we would love to invite you to attend. The next one is our May Daytime Knit Together, and it is going to be held on Saturday, May 22nd from 10 a.m. to noon Central Standard Time via Zoom. As always, we will post the link about an hour before the event. And in the event we have technical difficulties, please email us, because we had one this month and didn't really know it until someone let us know that there was a technical difficulty. So don't hesitate to send us an email. That will, as I said, that link will be posted about an hour before the event. And then when we log on, we invite you to join us for nothing but knitting talk for 2 hours. And we are going to ask you to share what's on or off your needles at your own level of comfort. So if you don't feel comfortable sharing, we'll never force you to do that. And then we'll also have another question to ask you. So be looking and listening to the threads, because that question will be included. If you're not able to make the daytime knitting event, then we would like to invite you to our June evening virtual knit night. Once again, it is going to be held on Saturday, May 12th. Well, that doesn't happen in June. I believe it's Saturday, June 12th from 7 to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. There will be no special speaker at either of these next 2 events. They are going to be devoted to us allowing you to share with us what's going on your fiber journey, and we'll just be mingling and having a good time knitting together. So if you're looking for nothing but all things knitting, this is a great way for you to join us. Again, we'll also pose a question for that as well. So Dawn, one last thing, and if I misspeak, make sure you correct me. We also wanted to let you know that our summer schedules are getting busy. Now that things are opening up, families are getting together. You all know how important family is to Dawn, both Dawn and I. And so we are not going to necessarily guarantee a podcast every week. We are going to podcast when we are available this summer. So please, if you don't hear from us for a week or possibly two, no need to fret. We are probably basking in the sun, bending over, pulling weeds in the garden, mowing our lawn, fishing, or yard sailing, one of those things. So don't worry about us. We will get back to you just as soon as we can. And I think that covers our events. Dawn, what do you think?
I think so. So I think you better tell us what Nicky would say if she was here.
Well, I certainly will. And do you mind, before I do that, if I shout out a couple honorable mentions?
Oh, yes, for sure.
Okay. For those of you who joined us for our virtual May Knit Night, we had the honor and the pleasure of hearing about Miss Beatriz Rubio's fiber design journey, and what a delight it was to meet with her all the way from Santiago de Chile, as she shared how not only she, I guess, really discovered knitting, but how she discovered her passion for design. Miss Beatriz, you were so gracious. You just allowed us to ask you all sorts of questions, and we can't tell you how much we appreciated having you. So thank you for carving out time on your Saturday evening to meet with us. And I cannot thank the participants enough. What a gracious group of knitters. They were so kind, so encouraging, so positive, and so inspiring. So thank you to all of you who popped in, even if it was only for a short time, to say hello, to knit with us, and to listen to Miss Rubio. So thank you so very, very much. And in closing, of course, what would our dear sister Nicky say? Spending time with like-minded people will always be a place you can return to for a pat on the back, for advice, or to find someone to be there for you. Isn't that true?
That is very true.
So thank you, sis, for that nugget of wisdom. And I think I can confidently say Dawn and I are hoping that each one of your weeks is filled with a sweet twist of the frivolous and frugal. And we look forward to seeing you again in episode 60. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.